What's going on, guys? Joey Friends here at FLEXX Training Systems, and today I am here with Big Body Chris. You guys know Chris and Camden Wilson. They're both coaches that work for FLEXX Training Systems. Um, you guys already hear from me all the time, so I figured this Q&A, instead of it just being me, I would let some of the other coaches have a chance to come on here and answer some questions. I'm just gonna kind of orchestrate. Maybe I'll chime in here and there. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just have two different coaches on here every time I do this. So that'll be three sets of like let's say this is part one of a Q&A, and then there'll be three parts total, and then by that time you guys will have heard from everyone. Um, and that way you guys can just kind of get to know them a little bit better. And I thought it would be good to get other perspectives on here. Um, because I mean, like we're all like-minded. They all like everybody's in the know here. Like in Flex, like we all have like similar, uh, ideologies and principles that we follow. But it's just good to hear somebody else sometimes. So for the first question, by the way, these questions were taken from Instagram. I randomly like ask for questions for videos, and sometimes instead of me using that topic for a video, I'll just like save it and use it for a Q&A later. And that's what we're doing today. So, Chris, say hello.
What's going on, everyone?
Cam, say hello.
What's up?
Okay, so let's get into it. First question. Okay. So I thought this one was really interesting. How how do you go about starting these two types of lifters like on a program? So let's say you have a bodybuilder that wants to get into powerlifting versus a complete beginner that wants to get into powerlifting. What are some of the differences between how you would how you would go about starting those two different types of people? Let's go, Cam. You go first.
All right, so with a bodybuilder, you would probably okay, I'll start with the noob actually. With the noob, be a little bit more accessory dominant because they're just gonna have to build up muscle, and just build up that base. Whereas like someone with a bodybuilding background, they probably already have a very good muscular base, so you can be a little bit more selective with limiting accessories and stuff like that, and definitely push more of the big three as far as that goes.
Chris, you got anything you want to add to that, or does that sound good?
Yeah, it's good. Just to piggy bank. So, like, working with a noob or someone who's new, I'm obviously knowing that they're probably new to the gym. There's so much. There's a plethora and just a whole world out there that they don't know. So I'm gonna invite them to ask all the questions that they need, and I'm just gonna kind of just wean them into training. It's definitely gonna be more elementary, and then obviously as we start to develop, I'll explain to them how there's phases. I like to explain and put things to where they can visualize, to where they can see like, okay, you've got beginner, you've got intermediate, then you've got advanced, and then you've got like elite, like top tier lifter, right? So, and they have to understand that it's going to take a long time to get from point A to point B. It's everything's process oriented, so you get like, I remember I heard you say a little while back, you were talking in one of these thousands of videos you did, where you were talking about like, to really trust the process, you got to actually believe in it. And so to have that belief and just know like, okay, the guy I'm working with, he knows what he's doing, he's got a good track record, and obviously he's been able to develop tens and tens or hundreds of people. Like, that belief is going to be key. And then when that's there, to go from beginner and evolve to intermediate, and go up the ranks in those phases, that'll be good. As far as a bodybuilder, you know, let's say they have 5 years experience. They've watched some Matt Ogus videos. They've watched some Kai Green stuff and whatever, and they've tried and they've experienced. So they have a certain amount of knowledge, um, and obviously they should have some experience in the big three. And so from there, I can kind of just dive into it. And like I said, it'll still be the same thing. I'll let them know, like, you can ask me all the questions that you need, but definitely we're going to be hitting all the accessories that specify and help, pump up our big three lifts. And as I start to, get to learn them more, I'll know if I need to dial up frequency or not, and, play with things on programming. And then obviously I encourage them to, ask me questions about why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think the bodybuilder is going to have some lessons that come through power, like just bodybuilding, that they're going to be able to apply to powerlifting. For example, the nutrition aspect coming from a bodybuilder is going to be very dialed in, and they're going to be able to apply that to their powerlifting and get a better result than a noob or a powerlifter that just doesn't have that nutrition background. And you know, for those of you guys that have been following this channel for a while, or FLEXX, you guys know we like RPE. I like the auto regulatory component, and like, I mean, a lot of times bodybuilders just come in and they're just looking for a feeling. They're looking for, you know, they want to feel a certain way when it comes to their lifts, and that's kind of what we're doing. Like when you're feeling out your warm ups and you're searching for the right RPE for the day. So I think a bodybuilder is going to do really well there. Um, I thought that was a good answer. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one. When should a lifter look for a coach?
So
Chris, you can go first with that.
so I think there's a point where, like, when you're not making progress, you feel beat up all the time. Maybe you're lacking structure, or you just feel lost. Like you're just going to the gym. You're like, man, I don't even know what I'm doing. Um, I think it's important that for people to know out there, especially like in powerlifting, that you have to start from somewhere in order to get from somewhere, right? And there's a destination that we need to arrive to, and then once you've arrived there, you have to know when you need to start making some changes. Um, and everything, it's kind of cyclical, right? It's like a process that cycles. Um, so I think it's important for someone to know, like, it's like, man, I'm not getting any progress. I'm coming here in the gym. I'm seeing all these other guys or girls who have great coaches or whatever, and they're just making tons of progress. I think that point when you start to just get frustrated, or you feel lost, or you just don't really know, like, it's okay to know that you don't know what you're doing, and it's okay to know that you need to learn. And I think when you arrive at that destination and you understand that, it's okay to reach out. And if you have the means to get a coach, I think it's a great thing to do, especially someone who has experience and knows what they're doing.
All right, Chris, that was a good little answer. Cam, you want to add to that? When a lifter should look for a coach?
Yeah, I'll add a little bit. I think the for like a short answer, whenever a lifter just wants to get more out of their training, they should look for a coach. Mainly just for the structure and the knowledge. And then like they don't even need to want to be an elite lifter. If you just want more out of your training and like you're willing to make that commitment, you should definitely look to get a coach. And then if you definitely like obviously if you want to be a serious lifter, you definitely should get a coach, but then you need to realize that having a coach is a commitment and it's a relationship and it shouldn't just be like it's a two-way relationship and you need to make sure that you're ready for that commitment. Even make sure that you're financially ready for that commitment as well. If that's something you want to be serious about.
Yeah, I mean, there's no like high level lifter that I know of that does it alone. And some lifters with just pure like talent can get pretty far. Um, but I mean, I'm not gonna name any names, but there have been some lifters that have been incredibly talented, and they've just fumbled the bag like so many times because they just didn't have guidance, or like I'll be watching the meet and I'm like, oh, they should do this, and then they won't do that, and they're just like in such a hole, and then they give another lifter a chance to come from behind and beat them when there's no that lifter had no business even being in the conversation, but because they didn't know what they were doing, they didn't have proper guidance, they didn't have the ability to kind of like relinquish that control over their training or their meet day handling or whatever, and delegate to somebody that does know better or search for help. And I think that's really important. Some of the most successful people like in existence, they like, let's say they want to accomplish something, but they'll say, hey, you know what, I don't know how to do this, let me find the best person in that thing and pay them, and hire them and get them on my team so that they can handle this aspect of XYZ, whatever it is. So that's why, you know, if you have like Russ, for example, obviously I do his training, his programming. We talk a lot about mentals and things like that, and then he has someone doing his nutrition, so he's getting everything handled so that he can focus on doing his part, which is being the lifter, right? So I think that's really powerful when all those things come together. You can really get a lot done and do some amazing stuff. So I think that's a great answer. There, I like how in depth we're getting, seeing these different perspectives. Okay, next question is: you guys have any advice on like if you're failing miss lifts because of nerves, like how can you kind of overcome that? And how can you just, I guess, not do that? All right, Cam, I'll let you go first.
All right, I would say the biggest thing is I'm really big on like visualization, and so I'll tell my lifters like I do this myself. If I'm getting ready for a big single, and like I get a little bit anxious and my nerves get to me, I'll just like headphones in, try to lock in, focus, and then I'll just visualize myself like completing the rep, how it's gonna feel, just replaying that over and over in my head. And that really helps me. And then from another standpoint, just be confident in your ability. Think about it like if the weight is on the bar, it's on the bar because you can do it, and it's not on the bar to see if you can do it. So like you already can do it. So then just trust yourself and then just go out and then just do it.
Chris, you want to add to that?
Yeah, so I think I'm really thankful for having played football for so many years because especially when you get to the higher levels, you got these big name coaches and um, athletic directors or general managers or whatever, and they're looking at you and you have to perform at a high level in front of a lot of people. And before when I first started that process of football, it was always like, damn, like I'm gonna get sent home if I don't do well. And that thought process, like thinking about that, like it scared the living everything out of me. And I'm not scared of a lot of things in this world, but how I can bring that over to powerlifting is like I think from playing football so much at this point now is like I'm just numb. I think I've mastered the ability to just like I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna lift weights. Like I'm gonna attack. Like my I try to substitute nerves with like a focused, controlled anger, and like just it's this focus I can't even explain, but it's like I've mastered it to where I like to train uh being in control of my nerves and the opportunity to actually hit a PR or to hit this weight or to compete, like those things are greater than me feeling nervous. So um I think when you want to practice mastering your nerves in training, right? And you do that with lower RPEs. So it's like, you know, every time that you hit a good number in training, that is closer towards it relates to what you would be doing in a competition, right? We're training exactly what we would be doing in a competition. So um, I think it just comes down to, getting used to and getting familiar to mastering your nerves and just understanding like, man, this is fun what we do and I want to be great and the opportunity to be great trumps and it's more important than me feeling nervous or anything. That's just a negative thought that I can do without. And at the end of the day, if you don't hit it, you don't hit it. It's all good. You got spotters there and people are going to be there to help you out. But in the end, I never think about me not being successful in something. I just go and attack. And 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty successful with that thought process.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna be, not everybody is gonna be like you, but I think you gave some good, it's I agree. Like you do it in training. Your training gives you the confidence to replicate that in the meet, and I think talking to yourself a little bit and saying like I've literally done this weight in the gym. I know I can do this. I've proven it to myself time and time again in the gym. There's no reason I can't do it on the platform. I think that goes a long way. It can't really get more clear than that. And then once you have that thought, it's like follow through and then do it. And then once you do it on the platform a few times, you kind of really have the confidence in your process that kind of just validates everything, and you're able to just repeat that and lift continuously over time, hitting bigger weights on the platform. Um, that was good. Uh, do you guys have any tips for like a first meet? So you have a beginner lifter coming into their first meet. Chris, you could go first.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you hear this all the time, right? People say, just have fun. And that's what it's about, right? Like, you don't want to do something that, like, I'm doing this because I'm not having any fun. And I'm doing it more so because everyone else is doing it. Or, like, you just want to have fun. You just want to have fun and I think it's okay. Like I said, in a couple, I think 2 questions ago, where I was talking about it's okay to know that you don't know everything, and it's okay to know that you need to learn and you need to experience what it feels like to compete, and you need to experience the process, how fast the meet can go. Sometimes the meet can go slow. Um, and yeah, I think the biggest thing is just like forget about the pressure of like all these other greats in the sport. The one thing I tell other lifters is that what has made other the lifters that are elite, what's made them so great is the fact that they're so focused on their themselves being great, and they don't put that pressure of others and their success on them. They just think about themselves, how far they can take themselves in the sport. And you look at, one training session at a time, and then it leads to one meet at a time. I'm here, today's the meet. I've done all this preparation for today. My whole point is to go pay myself from all the hard work that I've done. And I'm just going to come out here and I'm going to have as much fun as I can. And then when it's all done, if I have a coach, I can go back to the drawing board, look how I performed, look at the film. We can talk about it, what can be better. And then you just build upon your experience. So I would just say, just have fun and know that you need to build experience.
Cam, what do you got?
I mean, he pretty much hit on it. The biggest thing is just having fun, getting the experience, and then being confident in your ability, trusting yourself, trusting the training and the work that you put in to get to that point, trusting your coach, and then just as far as like make sure you have everything in check. So like bring lots of water, bring lots of Gatorade, like literally everything you think you should bring it, and then even bring extra stuff like extra Gatorade, extra water, extra snacks. Um, and then just go in looking to have fun and be confident in your ability, and you'll have a great day.
Yeah, to add to that, I'll just say make sure you have snacks and hydration with you so you don't burn out by deadlifts. That's what I'll add to that. Nice. All right, moving right along. Do you guys have any mental keys for nutrition? So let's say you have someone that just has a hard time following their diet. What would you guys say to them, or what would you give them? Cam, you could go first.
Um, so what I do, so it's like you got to make sure you get your protein in, right? So like let's say some days not feeling like it or I don't want to do it, I'll just literally remind myself like how like I say I want to be really good. But if I don't take care of this, then obviously I don't want to be as good as I say I want to be. So that kind of helps me lock in and go, okay, I say I want to be this good, so now I need to do everything I can in my ability to get to that level I want to get to. So I need to do this, and just reminding myself of my goals and what I want to be helps me take care of it on the day to day so I can get everything locked in. And then obviously preparing ahead of time, knowing what your schedule's like, knowing when you'll be able to eat, meal prepping, making sure you have snacks on you, making sure you're getting your protein in, making sure you have water to take with you, all those little things as well.
Chris, you have any mental tips to give people that are having trouble sticking on their diet?
Yeah. So one of the big things is like, I don't like feeling bad. So that's a huge motivator for me is like, I want to feel good during training. And if I don't take care of my business as far as nutrition goes, like I'm going to be looking at myself and just being mad with myself. In the past, whenever it has happened a long time ago, now I've been pretty good with it. Um, but I just don't like feeling bad in training. So that's a huge motivator for me. And then discipline, like Cam said, discipline is everything. Like there's no secret to this process when it comes to just making sure your nutrition is on point. If you want to be the best, if you want to be whatever you say you want to be, then your actions need to match up with that. And you need to create a regiment to where, like for myself, I like to wake up and I like to make my food for the day, because when I eat fresh food, it makes tracking my macros more realistic. Like I can track macros when food tastes good, and having fresh food is good for me. Some people, they don't care about that. Like I know you, Joe. There, I once watched you lose 30 pounds off of chimichangas, California Pizza Frozen Kitchen, frozen pizza kitchens, and freaking
Yeah,
protein.
I was a
And
little
you,
younger, so I could kind of get away with it. I think I would do it a little bit different now, but yeah, I
but the
mean, I
point
go ahead.
my point here is that like some people can just eat the same things, they don't care, and that works for them. Someone for like myself, to mentally feel like I can execute my diet and tracking my macros, eating fresh food and setting up a regimen, like that really helps for me. Obviously, if you have like a significant other that can help you with that and they prep your food, man, that makes hitting your macros so much easier. But if you don't have that and you're just, you're on your own and you got to handle your own business and take care of yourself, it's just like my best thing would be discipline, create a regimen, and consistency, and just understand there's no secret to it. And your motivation should be how great you want to be.
Yeah, I think the support of others is definitely going to help. The two times in my life that I really like buckled down and lost a bunch of weight, I had very little distractions, right? So I just could really just make that a focus and handle business there. I for me personally, I like to be done with my food early, like literally 6 p.m. I'm done, and I'm not eating the rest of the day. And just for me, that like it's just like I got that out of the way. I'm done now. I don't have to think about it. And I'm very good at like shutting it off. Like, okay, I'm done with food. At this time, I've hit all my food. I'm done. And so getting in a routine that works for you. Some people like eating first thing in the morning and being done with their food early. Some people like to prefer to wait till like 2 p.m. I don't know. Like you just gotta find what allows you to handle your nutrition in a way that's consistent and that you're clocking in each day. I'm in a deficit, I'm in a deficit, I'm in a deficit, or I'm getting my protein, I'm getting my protein, I'm getting my protein, things like that. So just find a habit that works for you, and that'll be that. All right, so this video is getting close to the length. We'll end on one more question, and it's gonna be so how important is it in terms of like having a support system in the gym? Do you guys think it's very important to have a support system when you're in the gym, or do you think it's not really that important and it kind of just depends on the person? Chris, go first.
So having the opportunity to be at gyms like Zoo Culture and gone to Corrupted Strength, gone to Warcat, gyms like those gyms, I think it's just a plus. It's a huge plus. Like it also depends on the type of individual. Some can just be completely motivated. Like I remember, I mean, a lot of us were doing this, right? Where when the pandemic was at its peak and everyone was in the bunker and you're just in your own garage, you got your own music and you're just focused on like everyone's training right now. We're gonna see who's gonna be at the top, da 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 da, whatever, whatever, whatever.
I remember your bunker was like that rack at the old apartment at those
My bunker was
shitty ass.
jumping.
That was
I,
those shitty ass plates.
I had a good time in my bunker. I
Hey,
made the
you
most
got
out
it
of it.
done though.
My whole point with that is like some people don't need anything but themselves and they just really mentally strong and they can just motivate themselves. However, if you are in an environment where you got your boys, your girls, your friends, whoever, you have your team, like at Zoo, we have a lot of Flex Fam. There's a lot of Flex Fam at Warcat and Corrupted. I know other teams have their people at their gyms. Like, I think enthusiasm, like, if you played other sports, like obviously for those that know about the football weight room, when you're about to hit a PR or you're about to hit a top end number, it's a new number, and you got the strength coach there, and everyone's hyped, and it's like, come on, let's go. Like, I think, like, how could that not help, right? Having a support system where there's no hate in the gym, it's just love. People want to see everyone win. And true competitors, like, let's say you have a rival in your gym, but you both understand, like, I want you to be at your best because if I'm going to beat you, I want to beat you at your best. And that's just another type of motivating factor. So to have elements like that in your gym and having a strong support system, like how could that not help, right? I feel like those are just great pluses to have.
Cam, what do you got?
Yeah, just building on that, I think it's very important. I think it also depends a lot on the person, but having a group of friends or a group of people in the gym who can help push you, because I know some people definitely need that. That can help elevate them just with the gym vibes as well. And then on the other end of that, I know some people, like myself, for example, I tend to be very introverted. So I tend to train alone. I've I used to train with a guy, and it was only because he was a good friend and like he could match my energy. So just I'm very selective with who I train with. But at the same time, there are times when I definitely wish that I could have some people that I feel like could elevate me to that next level in training on days I don't feel like it, because those are the days that mean the most. The days you don't have that motivation, and having that support system and that group there to help push you and take you to the next level can make a big difference.
Yeah, I did a video on this, so I don't want to go like too much. But I think most people are gonna probably benefit from some kind of atmosphere. When I started powerlifting, I was all by myself, and I do very good like in isolation. Like if I was alone on an island, I'll probably find a way to occupy myself. You know what I mean? Like that's just kind of like how I am. But there are times it's just like it just comes with like what you need. Like what do you need mentally to kind of uh, get the job done. And it does feel nice when you hit a big lift and everybody gasses you up. But I don't think your motivation and your reason for training should be because of external things or because of others. It should come from yourself, meaning whether you had
Yeah.
Instagram or not, you're gonna lift, right? And that's always like I'm gonna lift no matter what, no matter what, no matter what, how my body fails me. I'm gonna do everything I can to lift in some way. Um, but that's just me, and I knew like all this extra stuff, all this like social media is like very very extra. You know what I mean? And it's interesting now seeing all these kids come up where they've only ever lifted with people watching them. And I'm just curious, who who would still be here if they weren't. It's interesting. You guys know Gruden and Delaney. They don't post their lifts a lot, and they do very well. I think everybody's kind of different in that regard. There's no right or wrong. It just depends. If you have like a job kind of outside of lifting, and maybe you don't need to post your lifts, or maybe you find it like less of a burden. But I do think it is good too, especially if you're new, to have like a support system, make friends, and they can really like kind of encourage you. And I mean, Chris, we know people at Zoo that they probably competed many more times because the community was doing it versus if it had just been them. So
Right.
yeah, but yeah, guys, I think that's pretty good for today. I don't want this to be too long. This will be kind of part one, and then I'll do part two and part three with the other coaches on FLEXX. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. If you made it to the end, or if you found something useful, took away something useful from this Q&A, let me know in the comments down below. Drop a like. I will put Chris and Cam's IG in the comments down below. If you guys are interested in working with anyone, just flextrainingsystems.com. Alrighty, see you later.